Welcome to Garage Geek. Hope everyone's doing well. As you can see, I'm not in my natural habitat. I'm actually on a mini vacation for about 5 days with a friend. He's got relatives in the Los Angeles area. So he flew in and we're going to a couple of national parks. We're going to go to Sequoia, Kings Canyon, and Yosemite. And so we're about 45 minutes away from Sequoia National Park. And we drove here, which actually isn't that far. It's about 3.5 hours, but we decided to drive leisurely, get a hotel, and then get up early the next morning and go into the park. We're actually in Velouria. In order to kill some time before we were able to check into our hotel, there was a record store. Now, I couldn't stay a long time because, I didn't want to tax my friend's patience. And it was too bad because this was a really nice record store. It had a lot of things that I hadn't seen before. Now, the prices weren't bad. Things that I would normally pay a couple dollars for, I was paying $5 to $6 here, but I appreciated because I hadn't seen some of these things in other stores. So here's an example. First of all, the name of the record store is called Velouria. And I sent, I'm kind of fragmented right now. I'm going to record this because I don't have my iPad and I have to show pictures, right? So instead of showing pictures on my iPad, I'm going to have to insert them, which means I'm going to record this and have to edit it. Now I lost my train of thought. So, I sent a picture, which is going to be on screen. I sent this picture to Sleepy Reader and he was like, oh, a Pixies reference. And I had no idea. So there's so much 90s stuff that I'm just clueless about. I think I was asleep during the entire 90s. It's like the only Pixies song I really know is Gouge Away, and there's one other really famous one. But anyways, the name of the record shop is Velouria, and it was actually a really nice shop. There were a lot of bargains to be had. So for example, I found this cassette of Nancy Wilson called Nancy Now for 98 cents, right? And I think it's difficult to find cassettes anymore that are around $1. This is definitely not essential, but I love when cassettes have the full front art. I call it the full frontal art. And so I wanted to grab that. Now, not all the cassettes were 98 cents. I noticed the rock cassettes were more, but that's to be expected. So I'm going to show you some of the albums that I bought. I bought this Al Jolson album. I mean, look at that gorgeous cover. And so this one was $6. And in the back, of course, you have him on some of his album covers in blackface. And that was his trademark, unfortunately. Then I got this Danny Kaye Sings Your Favorites. Look at that cool cover. And by the way, these things are in really nice condition. So yeah, this one was also $5.99. And this one, I guess, is from 1953, and this is a mono reissue. Yeah, I don't know if I actually have the best equipment for mono. I think it's fine. Then I picked up this for the gorgeous cover. I should probably take it out of the plastic. But yeah, look at this Black Satin by George Shearing Quintet and Orchestra. Again, these are all $5.99. The next one was really strange. I just couldn't pass it up. And this is a Stravinsky, conducts Stravinsky, Petrushka. And it was also $6, but look at this weird cover on there. I mean, that is just a cool cover. I couldn't pass it up. And then finally, I got this Joni James. I'm going to pull this one out because I just thought this one is a little bit more beat up, but not too much. But look what a gorgeous cover that has. I swear I could have bought so many more albums in this place. There were so many cool albums. I wish this record store were closer to my house. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is, hey, my Jigsaw channel is up to 70 subs. I'm kind of happy about that. 70 subs already. Mark Morris sent me a puzzle, and man, he's an imp, because that puzzle was so difficult. Now, it's to be expected because the puzzles that I like are art pieces, and art pieces aren't specifically made for puzzles. So you're going to have, a lot of areas that have the repeated color. So, for example, if this were a puzzle, I mean, all of that would be so difficult to do because it's all the same color. Well, the puzzle that he sent me, beautiful, beautiful puzzle. And when I was done with it, I was so happy, but it was really difficult. And then what happened was I took it outside to, put the tape on the back. And as I was flipping it, it slid out. And I'm going to send a picture. And I was just like aghast because I had to spend another hour just flipping the pieces over and trying to put it back. And in the end, I had about 30 loose pieces that I had to put back in. And yeah, that was not fun about the thing. So that's the second time a puzzle has done that. So it's really difficult to actually like take a puzzle and flip it without there being a mishap. So I've learned that I got to be more careful. But anyways, I want to thank Mark Morris for that puzzle because it was challenging, and puzzles should be challenging. An author, Ngugi wa Thiong'o. Now I always pronounce his name Ngugi because it's got an NG, but online it said his name is Ngugi. Ngugi wa Thiong'o, he died, and I really think he's a great writer. When I was living in Africa, I was teaching a literature course to teachers, and one of the books that I was required to teach was one of his books. And reading it with the students, I realized how well crafted that book was. There was so much in it, so many themes, so many ideas that came back, so many things relating to politics and government, and it was just a really good book. And I think I've only read 2 or 3 of his novels, and I actually have a couple in Penguin, and I was going to show them in the video, but of course I'm not at home. But I definitely have to read more of his books. So that is actually a huge loss to literature, the death of Ngugi wa Thiong'o. This weekend has been filled with FOMO because a bunch of people that I'm friendly with from my work, they went to Portugal. And I decided not to go for a couple of reasons. The expense. I actually don't have my passport right now, but I could have gotten it. And other reasons. They're sending pictures and I'm like, I wish I had gone. And then this weekend was Heroes Con. People are texting and then also putting up videos. Of course, they're all having a really good time meeting YouTubers. There's a bunch of YouTubers that I want to meet, and I was actually going to go across the country this summer, but for financial reasons, I decided not to, because the last time I did it, I ended up spending a lot of money. And, you would, right? Because, you're going, the gas and the hotels and the food, of course, it all adds up, right? And I think I was gone for like 6 weeks. I decided not to do that this summer, and I was arranging to meet a bunch of YouTubers along the way. So it's a shame. And when I'm seeing, people all meeting at this Heroes Con and seeing all the different, YouTubers, I get this FOMO. But I'm really happy that they're all out there enjoying that. But FOMO. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about some of the things I did this week. A movie that I watched was Havoc. Havoc is stars Tom Hardy, and I really like Tom Hardy. I think he's a great actor. He's also really, really cute, but he is a really good actor. But this movie is like high octane, like crazy action scenes. A couple of times I was just like, the action scenes are that good. Now it's pretty much about corrupt cops and was somebody kidnapped? I might be mixing that up with a book, but anyways, they're trying to find. No, there's a senator's son on the run, and then a gang of people are after them, and all this. But crazy action. Is it the best movie ever? No, but some of those action scenes, I think you just have to watch them because I was kind of floored at how well filmed these action scenes are. And it's got Tom Hardy, right? So for me, that's a big plus. Number 2, Out on the Cutting Edge. This is a novel by Lawrence Block in the Matthew Scudder series. I think this might be my 7th or 8th. I'm doing them all in order. And this one was really good. Again, the way he portrays alcoholism, he does it so well. And this character is so flawed, but they say it in the text, he's like a dog with a bone. Like once he gets on something, he doesn't let go. This was another really good entry into this series. Now, this one was about Matthew Scudder, of course, and he's looking for a missing girl who is an actress. And so the father is in town, and a detective recommends Matthew Scudder to him. The trail is pretty much cold, but Matthew Scudder tells the father that he'll take the case on, but he's not promising anything. and it goes from there. Really good entry in this book series. Still really enjoying this series. Number 3, or the next thing I'm going to talk about, is a novel called Recursion by Blake Crouch. Now, I know about Blake Crouch. He has a bunch of novels that have been made into popular TV shows and movies. And I think I listened to one of his books before, and I decided not to finish it. It was just very plot driven and pulpy, and that's not bad, but I just figured his novels would be more of the same. Now, I was watching a YouTuber. He's new for me. His name is Ian Gubelli, and he put out I actually really like his videos. I recommend him. I'll put a link to him in my description, but he recommended this as one of his favorite books, and I figured, well, I might as well listen to it because it's about time travel, and that's the one that got my attention because that's one of my favorite topics. This one is about time travel. When you do it, you go back in your mind to an earlier version of yourself. You set time points, and then once you do that, all the rest goes away. You're basically resetting time for everyone, and you continue forward. And when you get to the point where you move, everybody in the world, their memories kind of reset. Depending on the size of the event, it has the effect on more people. So, for example, if I go back to 10 minutes before, that's not going to affect somebody in India, so nothing would change for them. But let's say I went back and reset before 9/11. This didn't happen in the book, by the way. It's just an example. And I was able to prevent that. That would have almost catastrophic shockwaves throughout the entire world. And then people, when you're affected, you have a headache and you start bleeding from the nose if it's severe enough. Well, anyways, that's just the premise of the book. I was totally hooked. This was such a fun book. It didn't really change my mind about his style of writing. It still was very pulpy, very page turner, but I really loved it, especially because of the subject matter. But it did have a little bit of a cheat in the ending, so I would knock off a few points for that, but the ride to get to the ending was so much fun. So that is the book Recursion by Blake Crouch. Next, I watched the movie Captain America Brave New World. It was a dud. Unfortunately, this is the first Marvel movie that I really didn't particularly enjoy. It wasn't bad. I'm not going to say it was terrible. It wasn't. It was just a little boring. It has great action scenes. It has, the Red Hulk. I don't know, something about the pacing or something about it was just a little bit boring. So if you have Disney Plus, you might as well watch it. But I'm going to say that it's not the best Marvel movie. Like I said, it's not horrible. I would give it 2.5 to 3 out of 5 stars. Marvel is releasing gallery-size collected editions. They're called the Marvel Archive editions, and these are going to be significant runs of comics, 10 to 13 comics. So imagine a normal-sized graphic novel that's put into the gallery edition form. Now, they've announced 3 or 4 so far, I think. One of them is I think it's going to be Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars, and then also the first appearance of the black suited Spider-Man, that collection. Now, they are pricey. I think they retail for $125, but they are touted as facsimile editions. It's like taking those comics, including all the ads, the letter pages, everything, and putting them into a giant size, and getting that gorgeous art. Now, I probably will not be buying these just because of the cost, and because I already have this stuff in multiple editions, and there's so much other stuff out there for me to buy and collect. But these are absolutely beautiful editions, and I think if you have the money and you haven't collected these, this would be the way to go, because they're the gallery size, but in hardcover, and then multiple issues and facsimiles. You get everything, and in the back of them, you even have a cover gallery with different covers from the same era. Absolutely gorgeous editions. But like I said, I won't be buying any unless something comes out that, the art is like really stunning, like maybe, a Bill Sienkiewicz Electra or, something like that, then I would probably, although I think I already have that in the, I'm not sure, I'm rambling. But yeah, they're expensive, $125. I don't know if you'll be able to get them cheaper on, some of the websites, but I mean, even at $80, they're still pretty expensive for, about a 13-issue comic series run. But money's relative. If you can afford these, then these would definitely be the way to go. So the next couple of days, I'll be enjoying Sequoia, Kings Canyon, and Yosemite National Park. And I'm sure in my next Friday Night Chats, which actually I'm filming this on a Sunday, my next Friday Night Chats, I'll definitely have some pictures to show off. But as always, I want to thank everyone for the support and everybody returning from Heroes Con today. I can't wait to see your videos and your hauls.